All right, so good evening. I'll start the class. As I'm waiting for you, I'm going to start working on something that I believe is important because we have questions and doubts about tenses and auxiliaries. All right, so we have to know all the tenses and all the auxiliaries. In that case, we are going to be sure whenever we have to use the short form of any expression, we know what we need to use. All right. And again, this can be done in a practical way, just as you are speaking and getting to use the language. But again, you are telling me, for example, that you're here also because you need to have these tools to improve your English skills. And that's why we're going to work with this. All right. So I'm going to start with this item, or let's say a list of all the tenses that we should know. Gladys, it's great that you are here. I'm just starting. What I'm saying is I'm going to work on a list of all the tenses that we know so far, plus the names they have, plus the auxiliaries. All right, and it's important that we need to try to memorize this in case we need to be sure when to use for each case. All right, so I'm going to start with the simple present, all right, of the verb to be, only of the verb to be. Here, the auxiliary, of course, is be. It means it is going to be, actually, instead of be, we're going to say directly, it can be am, it can be a, is, or it can be are, right? So this is very simple. This is your example, all right? That's just the verb to be, or the very basic idea. Okay, that's the first tense. Again, we're going to do this in order to be clear with everything and to be sure that we know what the auxiliaries are. So here, as we can clearly see, the auxiliary is over there, right? As I told you yesterday, if you see the verb to be, use the verb to be, okay? Don't use do, don't use did. Anytime you see am, is, are, was, were, you have to use that one. So similar to this one, Gladys, we have the simple present of other verbs, okay? So if you don't see the verb to be, so you have to use auxiliaries. So here the auxiliaries are do and does, right? Those two. It depends on what? It depends on your subject. So for example, if you have I like pasta, right? Our example, or she likes pasta. What is the auxiliary in the first case? Here, the auxiliary is do, but it's not written. And here the auxiliary is that's why, because third person, right? Anytime you see I, we, you, they, do. Always do. I, we, you, they. Anytime you see he, she, it, third person, that's, right? It's always going to be like that, always. So here the auxiliary is do, here is does. How do we know? Because like is not auxiliary, and because this is first person. So do. Here, because likes is not auxiliary, and she is third person. Okay, so far we have that. Now, we have something similar, actually one more, that is a little bit different. The present continuous. All right, continuous. Now, this one has this auxiliary, the same as here, sorry. These ones are the auxiliaries. Why? Because in the present continuous, you see the verb to be. So you have to use that one, all right? Once again, the same rule, right? You see the verb to be, you use the verb to be. So once again here, very simple examples, right? You are looking at the screen and she is traveling now. So in both cases, the auxiliary is over here. Here is are, and here is. Okay, so this is present. We have exactly the same Gladys, you're going to see, for past. In past, you have the simple past of be, and the auxiliaries are, was, and were. So I was, if you say I was Gladys, that's weird, right? So you can say I was sick, and He is also was, all right? He was in the park, but to use where you need plural, right? For example, they were, all right, together, right? Sorry, they were together. So over here again, Gladys, you see the verb to be, you use the verb to be, right? We don't have to use other words. The simple past of other verbs, okay, here the auxiliary is did. All right, so if you say I liked pasta and she liked pasta, in both cases, it is did. Why? Because the auxiliary is do, but the past of do is did. Okay, so do and did here are not verbs. They don't have any meaning. They are just telling you that you are in the simple past. And also here, the past continuous, right? In the past continuous, the auxiliaries are, was, and were, the same. If it's plural or you, second person, you were looking at the screen. If it's I, he, she, it is going to be was. All right, and there you go. These are the main elements, Gladys. All the rest of the ideas, remember, are always with the auxiliary that you see there. For example, in future, right? What is in future? The auxiliaries are, or the only auxiliary is will. Again, I will go or she will buy it. That's it. That's the auxiliary, and here you see the auxiliary. So it's very easy. In present perfect, okay, remember this is indefinite past. Right, in this case, the auxiliary, or the auxiliaries in this case, they are have and has. Okay, and again, this is not present, remember, this is past. This is just the name of a past tense. So you have, I have been there, and she has bought a notebook, let's say. Okay, so again, in both cases, you see the auxiliary that is over there, and you have to be careful with this. These verbs are telling you that these are not verbs, they are auxiliaries. All right, those I believe are the most important ones. Perhaps just one more to finish, that is the future would be going to. Again, so if you see the verb to be, you use the verb to be. So if the future would be going to, the auxiliaries are, am, is, are, right? And again, the example, he is going to buy a notebook, and you are going to go to the concert, let's say. And this is the last one. So you're going to read now all these elements, please, Gladys, in order to try to memorize, and also in order to let me know if you have questions. But once again, let me show you one more time. In present, you have only three options, right? It can be the verb to be, or it can be do. When is the verb to be? When you have the verb to be. If you don't have the verb to be, you have to use do or does, right? In present. In past, the same. If you have the verb to be, was, and were, you use the verb to be. But if you don't see the verb to be, I liked pasta, we went to the concert, right? We started yesterday, no verb to be, so you have to use did, all right? Then in future, you see will, use will. In modals, you see can, use can. Could, should, may, might, right? What you see, you use. You don't use anything else that you don't see, only in the simple tenses. The present perfect, have and has, and you know they have to be next to a past participle, all right, the past participle. And then finally, the future would be going to. You again see the verb to be, so use the verb to be. Don't see go, don't see buy, no, they don't, all right, they don't matter here. We have to pay attention to the verb to be only. So let's read, please, Gladys, we're going to read all these elements. Let's start with the simple present. Read the name, that is with be, read the auxiliaries, and read the two examples, please. And go like that in every tense. Let's do it, please.
Okay, it's a simple present, and the auxiliary is are. And then it said Gladys, he's in the park. Simple present, all the verbs, auxiliary, do and does. I like pizza and do, and she likes pasta does. Present continuous, the auxiliary is are. You're looking at the screen, she's traveling now. Simple past, the verb to be, the auxiliary, wait, is that the verb to be? Yeah. Simple past, the verb to be auxiliary was were. I was sick, he was in the park, they worked together. Simple past, other verbs. The auxiliary did. I like pasta, did, and she liked pasta, did. And past continuous auxiliary was were. You were looking at the screen, she was traveling now. And future, the auxiliary verb will. I will go, she will buy it. Present perfect indefinite past. The auxiliary is have and has. And I have been there, she has bought a notebook. Now in the last one, future would be going. The auxiliary is are. He's going to buy a notebook and you are going to go to the concert.
Great. Thank you, Gladys. Again, this is pretty basic, right? We know that. And you know this because you can use this. You have a very complex way of using the vocabulary and you have great English skills, all right? That's not the reason we're practicing this. It's just to remember the auxiliaries that we need for short answers and that we need for the topic that we were covering yesterday, right? Remember, it was the usage of agreement words or adverbs to show agreement. To, so, neither, either. Okay, that's the purpose. As I told you, we had to review. So first, I need you to tell me first if you have questions about this structure. Do you have any doubts or are you doubting in, and I don't know, understanding when you have to use is, are, when you use do or does, when you use was, were, when you use did as part of your auxiliaries? Remember that the auxiliaries are going to be seen in negative ideas and in questions in the simple tenses, but not in affirmative ideas, right? You need to identify that if you don't see an auxiliary, if you see a verb like, study, and you don't see anything else, then you know that you need an auxiliary for negative, and you know that you need an auxiliary for questions, right? So once again, the very common idea, Gladys, is I went to the park. What is the negative idea of that sentence, Gladys? I went to the park.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes, I went to the park. What is the negative form of that idea?
I didn't go to the park.
I didn't go, exactly. And a question, how do you ask a question about it?
Did you go to the park?
Did you go to the park? Exactly, right? So you don't see the verb to be, you don't see other elements that tell you that there's an auxiliary, so you have to know that you have to use it, right? Anytime you listen to or you read something that is in simple past. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go back to our lesson. I'm going to show you directly the structures. We have this. This is the most common one. Okay, so here, we know how this works, Gladys. You only need the subject, then the auxiliary, and then to, right? To show agreement with me. To I like pizza, very easy, right? You have I do too. But again, I'm going to give you ideas and you're going to tell me the agreement with the formula that you have here. All right, what we were doing yesterday, but now we have to be, little by little, we have to be even more confident as we are working with auxiliaries. So if I say, she has had a great day, how do you show agreement with that? All right, one more time. It is, she has had a great day. You have to identify what the auxiliary in that idea is, and you have to use it for I.
I have to.
I have to. Perfect. She has had, has
So
auxiliary.
difficult.
Is a little by little, but again, it's practicing. It's just practicing and repeating and repeating. And how do you know that, Gladys? If you hear has and after has you hear a verb in past, then it means that this is the auxiliary word, right? It's not a verb, it's an auxiliary verb. So has to be used as auxiliary. Very similar here. They have traveled before. They have traveled before. How do you show agreement with that?
The I have to.
I have to. The same, right? The same. So sometimes I'm going to repeat the same thing, but in different ways. So you need to figure out, right, if it's the same or you need to look for a different strategy. What about this case, Gladys? If I say they have a great family, they have a great family.
They have a good family. I have to. The same.
Close, but in that case, if you analyze
They
have and they have a great family, is have a verb or an auxiliary in that sentence?
It's a verb.
It is a verb, right? So if it's a verb, what tense are we in if we say they have a great family?
I do too.
Exactly. It's present, right? It's simple present, so we need to use do. All right. That's why, again, the trickiest of them all are the simple tenses, the simple present and the simple past. They are very tricky because you don't see the auxiliary there. Okay, one more. Well, actually, I'm going to give you some more elements. Okay, I'm going to be practicing with you for some minutes. What about this one? She started. She started yesterday. She started yesterday. What is the
I
agreement
do.
for that?
I do too.
But one more time, if you say do, it's present, right? But one more time is she started yesterday.
Oh, that's past.
Good. So what will it be?
I did too.
Great. They took the test last week.
I do too.
Exactly. I will travel next week.
I will too.
Yes. I can play the piano.
I can too.
I can too. Good. Okay. So you're there. Again, the tricky ones, I'm going to ask you three more. This can be tricky. Again, just be careful and use the ones that you feel. What about this one? They have the need to start. They have the need to start.
I do too.
Okay, one more time, please.
I do. They have, again, please.
Correct. It is correct. Okay. So let me first tell you that it is correct. If you said I do too, yes. Why? Because it was they have the need to start. And the need in that case is like the necessity, right? They have that necessity. So it's not a verb. The main verb is have. And if the main verb is have, then we are in present. And if we are in present, right, we use do. So it was correct. Good. Then you've, all right, you've gone to that party. you've gone to that party, or they've gone to that party. That's better. They've gone to that party.
I I have to.
Yes. And the last one, we were paying attention to the lecture. We were paying attention to the lecture.
I was too.
I was too. Great. Okay, good. I believe that we have that. It's just practicing again. If we just all right use this today and we don't practice, we're going to forget. I'm going to try to make you practice all right more often, but you also need to try to play with the auxiliaries to remember some of them. So here you have this chart, Gladys, and here you can see how they use. If it's the simple present, use do or does. Simple with be, simple present with be, sorry, am is are. Present continuous, am is are. Simple past did, simple past with be, was were. And here you have all the examples. So again, just in order to remember and to be sure that we are clear, actually the two of them. Yes, no, it's not. Let's read everything, please, over here because it's worth reading all the two ideas. So read the examples, please.
Okay. Lucy likes coffee, so do I, or I do too. John's at the office, so am I, or I am too. L- Luke's going out tonight, so am I, or I am too. Jill went to the cinema yesterday, so did I, or I did too. She was at the library, so I was I.
Great, thank you, Gladys. Now, the last four exercises, okay, in affirmative, then we go to negative. The last four, you have the chart to use it, all right? You are going to give me not only with two, also give me like as you see here, the one with so. Okay, so for example, if I say, I always go to the gym, what are the two ways to show agreement with me?
I always go to the gym. Mm, so do so do I.
Good. And the second option?
I do too.
I do too. Perfect. I always go. Go is a verb. You don't see auxiliaries. It's present, so do or does. And with I, do. Okay, good. I do too, so do I. Then, she, all right, what could it be? She wrote an article last month. She wrote an article last month.
I did too.
Mhm. Very good.
And so did I.
So did I. Exactly. So did I. I did too. Perfect. Two more. All right. It can be will. Mm, that's easy, right? Will. What could it be? Something different. Um, okay, we'll begin the project next month. We'll begin the project next month.
I will too. So will I.
So will I. Great. And the last one, okay, it would be Peter and John have sent a lot of messages. Peter and John have sent a lot of messages.
I have two. So have I.
Great. Correct. Good. Okay, little by little, and you feel a little more confident with that. We're going to keep practicing with negative now. Okay, we have to go to negative. That was affirmative. I don't know if you have questions about so and to for affirmative agreement, Gladys, before going to neither and either. Let me know, please.
Mm, both of them are the same, right?
Yes, in this context, they are like synonyms. If you say
But
so do I or I do too, both mean the
mhm,
same.
okay, but just you use it when it's positive answers.
Yes, both of them only in affirmative ideas in positive with a positive meaning.
Okay.
All right, now we're going to go with negative statements, or they can be affirmative in this case, but the meaning is negative. It cannot happen with two, right? It's incorrect. A very common mistake, guys, is to say, I like that, or I don't like that too. That's incorrect, right? We don't
I
say
don't
two
like
in,
that too. Mm.
right? It is incorrect. Why? Because in that case, we don't use two, we say either, right? I don't like
Mm.
that either. So that's what we're going to do here. All right, we're going to use the words to give negative ideas. Let's go directly here. This is the first one, Gladys. This is neither. Let's read everything, please. This is a short slide.
But neither is used to agree with a negative statement. Mark, I don't like classical music. Fred, neither do I.
Great. If you see, it's the same logic. If you understood to and so, you know how to use neither. It's the same. And a so, it's always inverted. Okay, you don't say I don't neither. That's incorrect. Okay, don't say I don't neither. No, with neither has to be inverted. Neither do I. Neither did I. Neither have I. Neither am I. Neither was I. Neither will I, and so on and so forth. All right, it's always inverted, and you also need to use the auxiliary. But again, this is just to agree with negative statements. So once again, let's practice a little bit. I'm going to give you negative ideas, and look, Gladys, negative is easier. Why? Because in negative, you see all the auxiliaries, including the simple past and the simple present. Okay, that's why it's easier. So let me give you an idea. If I say, I didn't, all right, I didn't, what could it be? I didn't read that announcement. I didn't read that announcement. What can you reply to that?
Neither did I.
Correct. You see the auxiliary, it's in negative, but neither is negative, so don't say didn't, you say only did. Correct. What you said is perfect. Neither did I. Easy. What about this one? I haven't finished my assignments. I haven't finished my assignments.
Neither have I.
Neither have I. I won't go to the party. I won't go to the party tomorrow, let's say.
Neither will I.
Neither will I. Then I couldn't, okay, I couldn't call you back. I couldn't call you back.
Neither could I.
Exactly. Good, right? Remember that rule. We said that yesterday. If you see a model, can, could, will, would, may, might, you use the same model, right? We don't use any other words. She doesn't, all right? She doesn't practice very often. She doesn't practice very often.
Neither do I.
Correct. The same. Okay, good. We are good so far. Let's go to the next one. All right, we're going to go back to practice a little bit more, but we are good so far. Again, the logic, neither, auxiliary verb, subject. Neither do I, neither did I, neither have I, neither will I, neither could I, neither should I, and so on and so forth. Here is the same, but you have to be careful with this one, Gladys, because you have to use the auxiliary in negative. Okay, this is the only one that is different because the auxiliary has to be in negative. So let's also read this explanation, please, and the examples.
Either is used to agree with a negative statement. Mark, I don't like classical music. Fred, I don't either.
Great. Okay, so the same logic. It's even easier because you have to copy and paste most of the auxiliaries, right? Copy, paste, copy, paste. If I say, I want, again, I want perhaps send the files, what is the agreement with that one, Gladys? I won't send the files. Your microphone is off, I believe, Gladys. I
Oh,
cannot hear.
sorry. I won't either.
I won't either. Mhm. I didn't. I didn't expect you to be there.
I didn't either.
I didn't either. I haven't. Right. Very simple. Or she hasn't. She hasn't. Um. I don't know. Checked. She hasn't checked the information.
I haven't either.
Correct. And the last ones. He shouldn't. He shouldn't. Uh, take that course. He shouldn't take that course.
I shouldn't either.
I shouldn't either. There you go. All right. So that's it. With that, we have this lesson covered.
Now I forgot all.
You forgot? No, you don't have to forget, right? You have to keep practicing. I'm going to make you practice, all right? Anytime that it's possible, because remember, I really need to try to use the time covering all the lessons. But I'm always going to try to go back to practicing models and to practice auxiliaries. Okay, but I really need to practice also that by yourself, Gladys. Again, try to play. If you really want to master this, and if you really want to improve again these skills that perhaps you're lacking, as you told me, it's really important that you look for ways to memorize this or to remember, right? You can create games even if you're on the street or in the street and you're walking there, or you're on the bus, right? You can play games in your mind. You can play that with yourself. You can have something on your cell phone. You can practice always in many different ways. Okay, I'm not going to tell you the way in which you can practice. That's something that you have to do, well, seeing what you like to do. But that's it. I don't know if you have questions before going to the next lesson, Gladys. Let me know, please.
Um, no, not so far.
Okay, good. Let's go to the next one then. Here again, we have to just remember the usage of the auxiliaries, but the main idea, I believe that is clear. It was related to so, neither, to, and either as agreement. Now, this is going to be short, Gladys. Future clauses. Okay, now we got to remember at the beginning, Gladys, if you remember, when we use will and when we use be going to, right? Let's try to remember one more time. Here, we are not going to use them, all right, in the different ways that we use them. We're going to use clauses. It means complex ideas with two complete ideas that tell you something about future. But before going there, Gladys, give please one more time a short review of what you remember about will and be going to. Very short, all right? When do you use each of those?
Will when you don't have evidence, and going to when you have evidence.
Perfect. That is one. Predictions with evidence and without evidence. And yes, will when you don't have the evidence, and be going to when you have some evidence, right? That's correct. What else? When talking about
Mm,
decisions.
decision. Hmm.
If I ask you, I'm going to give you the options. Which one do you use for decisions that were made at the moment of speaking? And which one for decisions that were made before? It means that are plans.
Oh, in the moment, you use will for decisions at that moment,
Mhm.
and then
Correct?
going to with a routine or a plan you already have.
Correct. Good. Those are the most important elements. All right. After that, you have one extra for future with will. That is future facts. Right? So that's what we need to remember. That's good. But let's go to this lesson that is going to make us use the future in a different way. But it's a very simple way. I don't care about the definition for clauses. We're going to think of them just as two complete ideas that are going to be joined by a specific word. These are examples of future clauses, Gladys. So let's read, please, these two examples that you have over here.
When the music ends, I will go to bed. I'll feel more relaxed after I finish my project.
Great. Now, just by scanning and analyzing this, that it says incorrect, Gladys, what is something that you cannot do in future clauses?
When the movie will end, I will go to bed. I feel more relaxed after I will finish my project.
Thank you. Now, that's incorrect, right? Why? Why are we marking that as incorrect? What do you say?
Mm,
Perhaps you can say what is not good, or by taking a look at the correct way to do it, what do we use in the when clause? What do we use in the after clause? And if we use something different, it is incorrect, right? So what can we use here and what can we not use here?
In the incorrect one, we're trying to using like the future when it's supposed to be past, right?
Close, right? But this one, if you analyze, this is actually present, right? With S, ends, right? When the movie ends, simple present, I'll go to bed, future, right? Or I'll feel more relaxed, future, after I finish my project, right? Present. So you're close, but instead of past, is present that we use. So if I ask you, for example, Gladys, what will you do when the class finishes? What will you do when the class finishes?
I will go to my friend's house.
Okay, all right. What will you do after you take or you pass the TOEFL? What will you do after you pass the TOEFL, let's say?
After I pass the TOEFL,
Yes.
I will I will apply to the university.
Okay, good. That's one. Like this, I can ask more questions. One more. What are you, I can use be going to. What are you going to do when I don't know. What could it be? When you get accepted into college, what will you do, or what are you going to do when you get accepted in college, into college?
I'm going to take as many courses as I can.
Okay, as many courses as you can. All right, there you go. Okay, so again, I'm just showing that one is in present, that is the when or after clause, and the other one is in future, the action that will happen if this first idea is possible. All right, that's the idea of future clauses, Gladys. And you can use these words, and we're going to practice now with some of them. You're going to give me examples. If you use when, you know the structure, right? And it's future, when, present, right? So I'm going to write that for you. Here you have future, and here you have present, right? It's just like that, but it's just to remember. So one example, anything that comes to your mind, please, with the first one, Gladys. For example, you can say once again, I will do something when I do something else, right? Future, present. What do you say? What idea can you give me with that structure?
I will buy a car when I have money.
Okay, yes, correct. I'll buy a car when I have or get the money to do it, right? Perfect. While, what will you do while you are doing something? So here the sense is the same, but here you have future, and after future here, Gladys, you have the present continuous.
I will I will I will eat while my mom is driving.
Okay, yes. One more time, please. The first part was not that clear. What will you do?
I will eat
Okay,
while
good.
my mom is driving.
Yes, that's perfect. I'll eat while my mom's driving, right? I'll do any action while someone else is doing another action, right? Great. Before is the same, okay? Here you have future, and here you have present, right? The same logic. It's before that action. Once again, what comes to your mind? What will you do before something happens?
I will save money before I spend all on clothes.
Okay, yes, that's a good idea. Great. Yes, I'll save up some money before I spend it all right in clothes. That's great. And it's a great idea too. Good. After is the same as when, or we don't need to practice with after. As soon as. That's just the idea of how immediate something has to be. The same logic, Gladys. Present as soon as, oh, sorry, future as soon as present. So what will you do as soon as something happens?
I will eat as soon as I get home. As soon as I get home, or I got home.
No, get. It has to be in
Get?
present. Huh? Get.
Oh,
Correct. Perfect.
yeah.
Yes, I'll eat as soon as I get home. Good. Now, until is a little bit different. I mean, it's the same. future until present, but this is an action that you will do until something happens and then you stop, right? You stop when that thing happens. So what do you say? What will you do until something happens so that you have to stop?
I will continue working until I get $1,000.
Okay, yes, that's also valid. It means that as soon as you get that, you are going to stop doing it, right? That's the idea of until. Correct. Look, again, it's very simple. You only need to organize those ideas in the way you were doing it. Yeah, tell me, Gladys.
And always after those clauses should be present or can change it.
It can change, but now as we're working with future clauses, it has to be present. If you
Okay.
write in future, it's incorrect. If you write in past, it's also going to be out of place. For example, imagine that you say this: I'll start with my project when I finished, all right, with my studies. If you translate
Mhm.
that, okay, try to translate that, it doesn't make sense. So it has to be present in this case. It can be past in Gladys. We are going to learn past clauses. So if you have past, then you can have past also over there, right? For example, you can say, I was traveling when you entered the, or something better. I was playing, right, when you called me. So in that case, you have a past continuous, and after when you have the simple past. Okay, so it depends what you use in the first part. As we are using future, it's advisable and the best idea is to use simple present and sometimes present continuous as you saw with while. Okay, so it depends on the context, class. In this case, we need present. Okay, good. Look, these are the two formulas, right? If you read this example, please let's read only this example over here.
I would travel to. I will travel to Europe when I finish my career.
Great. Europe, right? Yes, I will travel to Europe when I finish my career, when I finish my major, when I graduate from university, when I graduate from college, but it has to be present. Okay, so this is the structure and this is the standard order of the ideas. But it's not here, it is here. You can invert that and you can say that in this way. Okay, give me a second. This one over here, Gladys. Let's read, not the formula, actually, no. Let's read only this part, please.
Before plus it starts raining plus I will go for a walk.
Exactly. And here you have something that is very useful for writing, Gladys. A comma, right? If you use first the word before, when, after, as soon as, until, you have to use a comma, right? That is
After.
very, very simple. Exactly. You can say after it starts raining or before it starts raining, when it starts raining, as soon as it starts raining, while, but you say your idea, or while you are playing, comma, and you say the future event, right? While you are playing, right, with your game, comma, I'll go to the park. I don't know, right? Before you get home, comma, I'll, I don't know, right? I'll watch that movie and many things that you can think of. Now, I need you to do the following. If you have questions, let me know. But if it's clear, I need you to go to our document, Gladys, right? You need to go to Google Classroom, classwork, and you need to open the file, the new file that we started yesterday. And we're going to write a couple, or let's say we're going to write 4 examples but using the inversion. Okay, so as you can see here in the formula, you can use when, you can use after, you can use before, and one of the, well, one that you want. Remember, you can use as soon as, you can use until, all right? You can use one more, but 4 examples in total, and you need to use this formula. You have the word, the present, you have a comma, and you have the future tense. And here you have the example that you read, right, a few minutes ago. So let me know, do you have any questions before we can start with your examples?
Just with when, after, before.
And one more that you remember. Remember that we got to
Oh,
see, for example, as soon as or until. You can use one of those two, or while. Okay, any of those 3, but 4 in total. Okay, 4 examples in total. Okay, and all with inversion, the 3 of them with inversion, guys. It means that you have to start with when, after, before, until at the beginning of the idea, and you need a comma to divide it with the next clause. All right, let's do it then, please. If you have questions, if you, again, well, if you need to ask something, let me know. We are going to have, let's say it's 10 until 14, okay? 14, like 4 minutes. We check in that time, please, guys.
I finished.
Great, so I'm going there with you so that we can take a look at that to finish with that class today. So where are those examples, Gladys? I cannot find them. Or did you write them in the previous document that we had? You did? Okay, don't worry. So try to copy those, please, here. Remember, we have a new file. I'm going to send the link. It is going to be in the chat. And I was not able to hear you, I think, because your microphone. But I'm sending that. It's in the chat now.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
So
don't
I
worry.
said that probably I wrote in the other document,
Yes.
in the last one. So here. All right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Good. Let's read all those examples, please.
After I go to the gym, I will drink protein. When I start college, I will take many courses. Before I lose money, I will save some for my future. As soon as I can take the TOEFL exam, I will enter to the university.
Thank you very much. Again, in general, it's very good. After I go to the gym, I will drink. Here, you can use, when it's uncountable, it's a good idea to use some. All right? Again, that's
Can be
just
a.
advice, a piece of advice. A protein, protein as something that you can consume is food, and it will be incorrect to say protein unless that you use a
Oh.
quantifier. All right, but remember, it's just like something that you consume. It doesn't have a specific shape, a specific form. And remember the rule for quantifiers: if it's something that you
Mhm.
cannot see the shape, the form, then it's uncountable. All right, that's why some is the option here. Then I start college. I will take many courses. Yes, because it's countable. Good. Before I lose money, I will save some for my future. All right. Here you can say I'll save some up, or I'll save up some over here. Right.
Let's
That's
save,
it's the same meaning, but it goes directly to the idea
save up.
of
Mhm.
your money. Exactly. Then for my future, as soon as I can take the TOEFL, all right, exam, I will enter. Now, if you use enter, you don't use the preposition. You can say get into college or
Get
university.
into.
But if you use enter is correct, don't say to, you only say enter the university without any preposition. All right, and both are correct. I will get into college, or I will enter college, or I will enter the university. All right, so those are options. That's it. In general, what we needed to use is being used, all right, in a good way. Also, I have no
Mhm.
observations. And the details that I showed you, they were just details. So it's great. I don't know if you have final questions before finishing today. Let me know, please.
No, that's good.
Good. Great, that's good. So again, please remember, keep practicing with those auxiliaries, with those tenses, so that we don't forget that and we can keep applying that in future lessons that we will have. As always, please, Gladys, I'm sending the survey for today. You must be able to see it now. There you go. So as soon as you finish answering those questions, you may leave. Okay, thanks for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next class.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.